Ciao everyone and welcome back to another episode of Learn Italian with songs. This week is the week. It is the Eurovision week. Now, we talked about in other videos of the Italian entry, Volevo essere un duro. We talked about San Marino entry, tutta l'Italia. We even talked about Espresso Macchiato, which is the entry of the Estonia, but apparently everyone is convinced still that that song is about Italy. Now, is Espresso Macchiato about Italy? Sort of. I explain it in the dedicated live. Long story short, for those who didn't watch the live, yes, but actually no, because the whole song is more about criticizing or at least shedding light on a global problem, which is road tourists, okay, and tourism in general. The whole point is that the singer decided to take two examples where the country visited is Italy and the rude tourist starter pack is from US. Now, the problem is not only about US tourists, the problem is not only concerning Italian stereotypes, the problem is general. So when someone, no matter the nationality, goes into a country basically thinking it's a amusement park without any respect for the people or the culture, which are reduced to mere stereotypes, okay, and it is not a problem happening only in Italy, because probably even more with internet. Actually, I don't know if internet made it better or worse, but we all have the stereotype syndrome. So when we think about a country and we think about it in terms, and their people and its people, of course, in terms of stereotypes. Now, once again, I want to stress it is not only from certain tourists towards certain countries, it is a problem that everyone is facing, okay? Now, the remix, you might tell me, oh, but like, they just sing it in a different way, maybe with different music. No, my friends, no. And I tell you more. In Italy and also France, because I live in France, but I know that even in Italy it had issues, this remix was banned, like it was censored for sort of like 24 hours or so. So, why did they censor it? Now, I didn't find any notification by YouTube saying, oh, we censor it because XYZ. My guess is due to the lyrics, okay? Because the lyrics are tagged, so warning, as explicit language. Am I surprised? No. Why? Because this remix was made in featuring with Tony Effe. We talked about Tony Effe because he participated in Sanremo 2025. And I think I already mentioned some of Tony Effe's adventures. It is a persona. Now, what can I say? I can't really make an introduction concerning the meaning of the song as usual, because the point of the song, it is pretty much the same of the original. So providing a list of stereotypes concerning Italy and us, mainly Italians, concerning how we are seen, like the stereotypes people keep fostering with all their might concerning Italians, okay? I am not going to provide further information, points of views, because I don't want to bias you too much. I'm going to tell you more concerning how Tony Effe is perceived in Italy. I am going to tell you what I think of this remix. Just so you know that technically the whole point of the song should be the same, so problematic stereotypes concerning Italy, which serve as an example to highlight a problem that we have globally, which is perceiving cultures and people from certain countries only through stereotypes. I can't say anything because really I don't want you to be biased. So, without further ado, let's see this beautiful remix of Espresso Macchiato by Tommy Cash featuring Tony Effe. The intro is the same. Again, if you are interested in the original lyrics, go and check out the other stream where I explain the original lyrics, or at least I try to provide a bit of context. So we have the classic mi amore, espresso macchiato, macchiato, por favore, espresso macchiato Corleone. And then we have an echo coming from behind, sick look. Now, what or who, or better, who is sick look? Now, Luca Antonio Barker, class 1994, known professionally as Sick Look, is an Italian record producer, beatmaker, and rapper. So basically, Sick Look, it is just the producer of Tony Effe and does this remix. Now, but trust me, Blaue, you are not going to learn vocabulary concerning coffee. Trust me. So, this enunciation of this person is a presentation of the producer allowing our heroes to produce this masterpiece of a remix. But let's go and check out the juice, right? Because the difference is in the first and the second verse. In fact, the remixed first and second verse are sung by Tony Effe, or should I say rap, trapped, I don't know. This is not my niche of expertise. So, what are these lyrics? What's the meaning of the lyrics? Evado I milioni, bitch. I evade millions, bitch. Sono il nuovo Berlusconi, sì. I'm the new Berlusconi, yes. Mando Priscilla alla Bocconi, sì, sì. I send Priscilla to Bocconi, yes, yes. Dammi la paghetta, papà Tony. Give me my pocket money, daddy Tony. Non ce la posso fare. Mafia e parmigiano sulla pasta, scemo. Mafia and parmigiano, not parmesan, parmigiano, on pasta, you idiot. A casa mia comanda mamma. Metto in my house, mommy is the boss. I wear il mocassino loro piana. The loro piana mocassin. Loro piana. Sono pieno d'oro come il Papa. Sì, sì. I'm full of gold like the Pope. Yes, yes. Dopo pranzo, l'espresso, caffè. After lunch, espresso, coffee. Dopo cena, una escort Una escort, ok. After dinner, an escort, ok. Non è vero, ho già smesso. Smesso. It's not true, I've already stopped. Stopped. Sarò un padre perfetto, Tony. I'll be a perfect father, Tony. A masterpiece of Italian literature, I might say. Now, let's give some context to these lyrics, shall we? Now, evado I milioni, bitch. I evade millions, bitch. Now, we have a big problem in Italy. Sadly, it is not much a stereotype, it is an actual problem, which is people evading taxes in Italy. Sadly, we have many cases and situations where people are not paying the taxes they should in Italy. That is a big problem we are struggling to fix. And the issue is that this tax evasion concerns also politicians. And in fact, in the second line, in the line after, sono il nuovo Berlusconi. See, I'm the new Berlusconi. Yes, why? Now, how can I even explain in a few words who Berlusconi was? Because he passed a couple of years ago. Or last year, I don't remember, quite recently though. Now, Berlusconi was a central figure in Italian politics. He was a politician renowned in the whole world, but not because of positive aspects. So, Berlusconi became famous for making a fortune thanks to dealing with Ndrangheta. Ndrangheta is another type of mafia, specifically from Calabria. He was famous for... How can I explain this? Founding Italian prostitution. Let's put it like that. In Italian, we would say andare a puttane. In fact, there is the famous joke. Non è possibile che in un paese che va a puttane non si possa andare a puttane, because prostitution in Italy is still illegal. So, now, yeah, he was renowned, but not for the reason... The right reasons, okay, let's put it like that. And among the several issues that he was renowned for, he was also accused, but the justice system, the Italian justice system, never managed to prove it. But he also was accused, he had allegation, he was charged with allegation concerning tax evasion. It is a very complex story. There are books over books over books. You can even just check the Wikipedia page, but a quite controversial figure. Mando Priscilla alla Bocconi. Sì, I send Priscilla to Bocconi. Now, who is Priscilla and what is Bocconi? Priscilla is Tony Effe's daughter. She's not born yet, if I'm not mistaken. Again, I keep repeating this, but in this moment right now, there are many Italian singers that are about or just had children, so I'm a bit confused. Anyway, is the newborn or about to be born daughter of Tony Effe. And I think she's not born yet, though. And then I sent Priscilla to Bocconi. Now, Bocconi is a extremely prestigious Italian university. Private university in Milan, Italy. The university is consistently ranked as the top business school in Italy and among the best in the world. It is private, so you pay. not as much as you might expect, mainly if you come from English-speaking countries, because I have to be honest, Italian school, even the private ones, are not that expensive. Because in Italy, right to education is fundamental, rightfully so. Thus, even the most expensive schools are not as expensive as private schools in English-speaking countries, mainly in UK and US. Again, rightfully so, because instruction and education should be accessible. There are still issues. The private schools still cost quite some, but at least we don't get lifelong debts due to this. So, mandare qualcuno a scuola, generally using the name of a prestigious school or simply the name of the school, it is the way we use in Italy to say that we are going to allow one of our children to go to a certain school, ok? So, mando Priscilla alla Bocconi, I send Priscilla to Bocconi, means that I am going to gain so many money, or I gain so many money, that I'm going to allow my child to attend to one of the most prestigious schools in Italy. And in fact, right after, dammi la paghetta, Papa Tony. Paghetta in Italian is the pocket money. Papa Tony, because Tony Effe, our hero, is talking about, is imagining to quote his daughter asking for the pocket money. Which is probably also a reference to a dissing that was going on last year. So, in 2024, we had a whole drama moment between Tony Effe and Fedez because they were basically insulting each other more than dissing each other, to be honest. And everything started because Tony Effe in the Red Bull competition dissed Fedez because Fedez was having some troubles with the wife. So Fedez didn't take it well and dissed back Tony Effe. One of the tracks, because they made two dissing tracks both, one of the two by Fedez was titled L'infanzia di un benestante, the childhood of a wealthy person. Because, if I remember correctly, Tony Effe mentioned in one of his interviews, that he argued with his father because the father wasn't giving him enough pocket money. And we were talking about thousands of euros, okay, which is a lot for pocket money. And the whole track was a little bit like, how can you even consider yourself a rapper? Because usually the whole genre of rap is related to crime life or struggle in general, because it comes from people who struggle in life because they don't have access to resources, generally speaking, because they live in poverty, because they are pushed by their social condition to crime. And the whole point of rap is often to talk about this life. And the whole point of the diss track by Fedez was pointing out how useless is Tony Effe's rap because he never really struggled in his life. He's basically a spoiled brat. So probably Tony Effe is quoting these making fun of himself, talking about this with irony? Question mark. I have to be honest, I often struggle to understand Tony Effe. So, just putting out my limits. Mafia e parmigiano sulla pasta, scemo. Mafia and parmigiano on pasta, you idiot. Because, again, two very common stereotypes. Mafia, one of the most famous criminal associations in the world, originated in Sicily. And parmigiano. Why did I say not parmesan? Because parmigiano indicates a very specific type of cheese, okay? Which is made specifically in Italy. Parmesan is another thing. I probably should make a video just on this controversy because it was and probably still is a legal issue. Because this brand called Parmesan tried to copy the sound of Parmigiano, okay, and sell mainly in US, but probably also in other countries, a cheese that was not Parmigiano, which again, it is made in a very specific way, in a very specific zone of Italy, and it is protected because in Italy and Europe there is a whole system protecting certain products to guarantee that you are buying that product made in that way in that place. So the whole problem is that the brand concerning Parmesan was selling their products as if they were Parmigiano, while it wasn't. And in fact, now I don't remember exactly how it ended the controversy, but basically it is very important to highlight that Parmigiano and Parmesan are two different products. So if we are talking about the Italian cheese produced in Emilia-Romagna in a specific way, we are talking about Parmigiano. Parmesan is another thing. And that's why technically it is not correct to translate Parmigiano as Parmesan because they are two different cheese. Sulla pasta, very important, not with fish. Parmigiano, Reggiano or Grana Padano, two brand of similar cheese. On the pasta, only except but when you are eating fish, because in that case, not good, very important. A casa mia comanda mamma. In my house, mom is the boss. Again, another common stereotype concerning Italy, which is mothers, Italian mothers, are the boss of the house, and we have a problem with Italian men being the so-called mammoni. Now, stereotype or truth? I would say complex social issue. You have to know that in Italy, yes, we have the problem concerning certain men who are raised with their mother doing everything for them, so they cannot clean the house, they cannot take care of the house, they cannot cook, they can do shit because their mother always did everything. And in fact, a portion, okay, a corollary of this stereotype is the comparison between the fiance, girlfriend, wife, and the mother. The other side of the stereotype is the mother controlling the child, so basically trying to put the son against the girlfriend, fiance, wife, whatever. Very toxic relationship. Yes, it actually happens. We are trying to fight this phenomenon, okay? But we are still fighting. The war is not won yet. So, on the other hand, however, we also have the issue of living with the parents generally. This is because in Italy we are living a serious crisis concerning wages, which are too low because they were never adapted to the inflation. In other countries, for example, France, each year when you work, your job provider, your boss, your responsible, is obliged to review your wage and adapt it to the inflation, okay? And of course, if you are a freelancer, you are going to adjust your price, your price list, your pricing generally to the inflation. In Italy, they said, oh no, if we want to stop the inflation, we have to stop the growth of wages. Spoiler, it didn't work. Did they start to raise them according to the inflation like they do in France because they realized that their great plan wasn't working? No. So now we find ourselves in Italy with no minimum wage, first of all, but even worse, no adjustment to the inflation. So we have wages that are like 1/10 as buying power, okay, of wages 10 years ago, because they were never adapted to the inflation. This concerns everything: pricing of the rent, pricing of the grocery, anything. Also, we have a great crisis concerning apartments, because it is very hard to find a house to rent. Let's not think about even buying it. Also, because let's remember that in Italy, we don't have the same, like European country, generally speaking, don't easily give loans. Okay, so if you want, for example, a house, you have to prove that you have a stable income. So already if you are a freelancer, the majority of the banks are not going to give you a loan, for example, because you can't prove to be stable enough. Moreover, even if you are not a freelancer, you have to, your wage is stable enough that your job, your career, because for example, some people, and I know because I've seen this personally, some people prefer not to rent, so just leaving the apartments empty, because the average of renting price is too low for their taste, and so they just don't want to rent it. And there are people on purpose refusing to rent empty apartment, and thus we have also a renting housing crisis. Due to this, many people, either because they don't find it, either because they don't have the money to go and live outside of their house, well, the result is that you often have to keep living with your family. If you are lucky, you are going to have a family with several apartments in the same house. Because, for example, there are houses divided in apartments, and often when your grandparents die, or your grandparents just move in a structure that is going to take care of them, thus leaving the apartment free, in that case you are just going to take the place of your grandparents, right? But this is a very specific situation, also because another great problem is that the south of Italy is struggling more and more because nobody is taking care of it. So everyone is moving north. So there are less and less houses. Moreover, we are struggling with working from home. So everyone needs to work close to the office or wherever they work. So you don't even have that freedom of choice concerning the place where you can live. And thus you have places like Milan where you have rents that are insane. Okay, we are talking about like 2,400 euros per month for an apartment with 3 places to sleep. Okay, it's insane. And thus you are absolutely not able to have a family, or sometimes you have to choose because you either live with your parents, so you don't have the expense of the rent or the loan, or you don't have a family, but even in that case it is not guaranteed, because we also have the problem in Italy that when you start to work you are often not paid. So you have several cases where you start working because you have your degree and whatnot, but you don't get paid despite you working until you are 30. Okay, just to put it in perspective. Or many people not wanting to pay you legally, but in nero, so illegally, without declaring the fact that they hired you and that they are paying you because they don't want to pay the taxes. So this doesn't count for your pension. This doesn't count for your eventual health insurance. If anything happens to you, you are not protected by the law because legally wise you are not working. So again, is this a stereotype? Yes, sort of, but it is more of a social problem concerning houses, low wages, illegal work and whatnot. Then we have il mocassino loro piana. Metto il mocassino loro piana. I wear the loro piana mocassin. So, what is a mocassin? In Italian, mocassino. It is a shoe made of deerskin or other soft leather, consisting of a sole made with leather that has not been worked, and sides made of one piece of leather stitched together at the top and sometimes with a vamp, additional panel of leather. If I understood this type of shoe properly, it is originated in indigenous population of North America. And then with globalization, this model of shoe arrived also in Italy and became very popular. And in fact, Loro Piana is an Italian luxury fashion brand specialized in textile manufacturing and ready-to-wear clothing, headquartered in Milan, Italy, like many other fashion brands. Sono pieno d'oro come il Papa. Sì, sì. I'm full of gold like the Pope. Yes, yes. Again, there is the whole point that keeps going on about the fact that, oh, look, I evade taxes, so I don't have virtual money. I have gold, for example. And then, pieno d'oro come il Papa, ricco come il Papa. It is a sort of Italian idiom concerning the fact that Vatican City is full of gold, marble, generally masterpieces, artistic masterpieces, and whatnot, because the Pope is quite rich, one might argue. Then, dopo pranzo, l'espresso caffè. After lunch, espresso coffee. Now, here probably is a bit of a play on words concerning the title of the song, Espresso Macchiato. Now, in the original song, Tommy Cash sings about this legendary espresso macchiato. What is the espresso macchiato? The espresso macchiato is what some tourists try desperately to get when they come to Italy expecting a Starbucks latte. Problem. In Italy, we don't really have the culture of latte because it is something coming from US, UK, other countries where Starbucks became famous. Because in Italy, if you want to drink the proper coffee, which, fun fact, it is often not appreciated by many other cultures because it is very intense aroma-wise. So many people are not used to it. When we want that, we just order un caffè al bar. Why? Because espresso is how the coffee is ordered by usually foreign people. And you might tell me, but Silvia, the coffee you drink at the bar in Italy, it is an espresso. And I would tell you, yes, it is indeed an espresso, but there is an issue. In Italy, at the bar, the espresso is the only option. Why? Because espresso indicates the mean of the procedure followed to make the coffee you find at the bar. As in, you have the specific coffee machine where you put the coffee powder, you insert it, and then you have the pressurized water, hot water, going through the filter and doing and making a very rich aroma-wise and also caffeine coffee. Now, why do we go there and we just ask for un caffè, a coffee? Because in Italian bars, that's the normality. Like, if you go and ask for un caffè, vorrei un caffè per favore, at the bar, what you are going to get is an espresso. Because that's the standard, okay? So, usually in Italy, we don't explicit it, okay? Because if we ask for a coffee, it is implicit that it is an espresso. Usually, espresso is the way it is called in other countries where the coffee culture is different from Italy. So usually when you hear someone ordering an espresso in a bar, you kind of think that they are foreigners because an Italian would order a coffee. Then why does it make sense in this case? Because here he's talking about his house, and at this point you might ask me, but Silvia, you don't do the espresso at home? What do you do? Well, because at home it depends. If you have the coffee machine capsules or not, you can do an espresso. For example, my parents in Italy, they have the coffee machine with the powder, so they basically do the espresso like at the bar. I have the capsules, so I don't have this luxury. But you have another option at home, which is the mocha. I have it as well, but I am struggling because I have the electrical surface. I don't have the live fire, okay? It is not easy. Also because there is a whole thing about the fact that if you do the mocha, if you do the coffee with the mocha, it is going to become longer naturally, the coffee. I am not a fan of caffè lungo. And also the mocha has a peculiarity. More coffee you do, in fact, you never wash with soap the mocha because the mocha needs to absorb the essence of coffee. I know that it sounds folkloristic, but it is actually true. So when we are at home, we can have two options: espresso, so doing it with the machine, okay, the coffee machine, or doing it with the mocha. The coffee pot you put on the fire, or in my case, the induction panels, electrical panels, and you do the coffee. You can do the coffee in these two ways. That's why saying dopo pranzo ho bevuto l'espresso makes sense, because the other person understands. Normally we don't specify it, we just say dopo pranzo ho bevuto il caffè. But if you want to be more detailed concerning what you drank, you can say ho bevuto un espresso, ho bevuto il caffè fatto con la mocha. So in this case, it makes sense, the distinction, because you have the option. At the bar, they generally they don't make the coffee with the mocha, also because with the mocha it is a bit limited, the amount of coffee you can make. So you can understand that when you have to serve many people, it might be a problem. And so, but at home it makes sense because you have the two options. Dopo cena una escort, non è vero, ho già smesso, sarò un padre perfetto. After dinner an escort, that's not true, I've already stopped, I'll be a perfect father. Why? What is an escort? An escort is a high-level, classy, luxury model prostitute. Again, we talked about Berlusconi. Berlusconi was very famous for founding and financing the escort Italian market. So probably this is a reference to that, and also to the fact that the rap culture is also a lot about having money and bitches. This makes sense because it is a narrative, a topic discussed in other songs by Tommy Cash, because Tommy Cash is a trapper that makes fun of this mentality about money and bitches. And probably here he is joking with Tony Effe about these stereotypes, a bit concerning Italy, a bit concerning rap, because of course even in Italy, what our rapper do usually, many of them try to copy what comes and came from US. Copying it exactly how it is doesn't make that much sense because the culture is different. There are similar points, okay, but generally the culture is different. So sometimes when really we have children who had access to free education, access to free healthcare system, access to many things, singing as rapper about how hard is their life, trying to emulate the condition of certain boys and girls from US, doesn't make much sense, because of course the struggle level is not, mind you, it's not a competition. Also, there are situations in Italy that are very complex, and I'm talking specifically about those blocks in the whole of Italy, because it's not something happening only in South Italy, that are under control of mafia, 'ndrangheta, camorra, or Sacra Corona Unita, which are the main criminal organizations. In those blocks, life is hard. Even if you have access to free healthcare, even if you have access to education, it is very easy to become part of these criminal organizations because you are often pushed into them. So of course there is the struggle in there. It is Tony Effe doing the struggling rapper doesn't make much sense because, again, 2,000 euros per month as pocket money not much struggle, let's put it like that. But again, it's not a competition. It's just that, of course, the same theme has to be adapted according to the culture or the social context. If you just copy paste what an artist from a different social context says, doesn't make sense. And in fact, here we end this first verse with sarò un padre perfetto, because I'm going to stop doing all the things that I was saying in my songs because I want to be a good father, which is a sort of it is sort of breaking, okay, all the stereotypes, because usually the money beach rap and whatnot is not associated to wanting to become a good parent, or in this case, a good father. Just like also in Italy, we have issues with our fathers because in Italy we still have the problem where all the emotional and physical burden of taking care of children, it is usually put on the mothers. So we have many fathers who are not even trying to be good parents. And sadly, it is a problem that we have even now. So this declaration of I want to be the perfect father, he sort of breaks and rejects all the stereotypes listed before. Then we have the chorus and the bridge, which are basically the same of the original. Mi amore, espresso macchiato, macchiato, por favore, espresso macchiato con le O. Mi amore, espresso macchiato, macchiato, por favore, espresso macchiato. And the only difference here is an echo of Tony Effe saying, go in the background. And that's it. I don't know. Trap things. I don't know. And then we see the other core portion of this remix, which is the second verse, again by Tony Effe. Sono un vero italiano, un gangster. I'm a real Italian, a gangster. Fotto le donne del presidente, tutte. I fuck the president's women, all of them. Quando finisco, lo faccio sempre. When I finish, I always do it. What? Mi bevo il latte coi pan di stelle. Sì, I drink milk with pan di stelle. Sono un bambino viziato, vero. I'm a spoiled child, true. Dico fatto dopo che ho cagato, fatto. I say done after I shut, done. Vedo la partita sul divano. I watch the game, usually the football or soccer game, on the couch. Se la Roma perde, litighiamo via. If the Roma, as in the team, loses, we fight, we argue. Let's go. So, another masterpiece of Italian literature in front of our eyes. Sono un vero italiano, un gangster. I'm a real Italian, a gangster. Now, another stereotype, this thing that we Italians are somehow all related to mafia and thus we are gangsters. Of course, that's not true. Fotto le donne del presidente. I fuck the president's women, all of them. Probably il presidente here mentioned is once again Berlusconi, because at certain point this was one of his titles, and thus it's like, oh my god, Berlusconi had a lot of women, I'm going to fuck all of them. So always money bitch sort of situation. Quando finisco lo faccio sempre, mi bevo il latte coi pan di stelle. When I finish, I always do it. I drink milk with pan di stelle. Now, here again there is a nonsense, like a contradiction with the stereotypes already said. Because we have the true Italian who is a gangster who fucks women and whatnot, and then yes, and after I fucked, I drink milk while I eat pandistelle. Pandistelle is one of the most famous brand of biscuits in Italy, the best biscuits. I am team pandistelle. Usually you have two main teams in Italy concerning biscuits. We have something like 100 types of different biscuits, but we have two great fandoms that are pandistelle versus gocciole. I am a pandistelle person, and pandistelle literally translates as bread. Pan is the truncated form of pane. Of, so made of stars. So it would be star bread. Because they are chocolate biscuits with sugar stars on them. And that's why they are called pandistelle. So, of course, here there is a contradiction because we have, yeah, gangster, fucking women, yeah, fuck yeah, and then like, and then I eat my favorite biscuits with milk. Woo. And we keep going with this contradiction because, again, here I think it is another reference to the whole dissing happened with FedEx I mentioned before, mainly concerning the diss track, The Difficult Childhood of a Wealthy Person, l'infanzia difficile di un benestante. Because he says, sono un bambino viziato, vero. I am a spoiled child, true, which could mean I am a truly spoiled child, or I'm a spoiled child, that's true. And as the example of these, or better, examples, he keeps going with other Italian stereotypes. So those people who after they shit, they scream, done. I am not joking, there are people doing it. Usually it's something children do. But there are people who never lose the habit. And then another great stereotype, which is not even too far from reality, about the, how can I say, Italian man .jpeg, who always watches the football or soccer match on the TV on the couch and argues with the girlfriend, fiance, wife, whatever, significant or other, usually a woman, because of course this is only for cisgender heterosexual men. I'm joking. And the whole point is he is rooting for Roma, la squadra di calcio, di football or soccer team. Because, of course, Tony Effe is from Rome. Rome has two main football soccer team that are called La Roma and La Lazio, because teams are feminine, because la squadra, the team in Italian, is feminine. So, by projection, all the football teams are female. So we say la Roma, la Lazio, la Juventus. There are exceptions. For example, il Torino, il Genoa, il Sassuolo, il Milan, l'Inter. These are masculine. Because you say not la squadra, but il club, the football club. So in those cases, you have it masculine. So, Yes, even the footballs and soccer teams can be gendered, are gendered. But in the case of La Roma is feminine, just like La Lazio. And the whole point is I, alpha, cisgender, heterosexual Italian man, watch the game, my team loses, and then I go fight with my girlfriend, fiance, wife, insert female cohabitant, ready to absorb all the frustrations. This, of course, is the stereotypical version of the classic Italian man. Still a problem, however. It is one of those borderline, like one of those cases where the line dividing truth, like reality, from stereotype is very thin. And then we have the chorus and the outro, which are the same of the original. Mi amore, espresso macchiato, macchiato, por favore, espresso macchiato, espresso macchiato, espresso macchiato, espresso macchiato. And that was the analysis of the lyrics of the Espresso Macchiato by Tommy Cash remix featuring Tony Effe. Now, I want to do this explanation as least biased as possible. I think I failed. Hard to not biased when we talk about Tony Effe. Why? Because Tony Effe is a persona. I don't know why Tommy Cash wanted to make the featuring with him. Surely he had his reasons. We laugh and all, but Tommy Cash is going to take the old ladies from Ozzuni, which is a little city from like in Italy, and they are going to be their dancers, like his dancers. These are the ghost. I also have these, but like, are you happy now? They have both of them because like they are squishy. These ones, like they are they fall easily. As far as I understood, he really wants to bring the old ladies. Yeah, because we had the tea concerning Tommy Cash and the tea concerning Tony Effe. So, which fun fact, Tony Effe is not called Antonio. He's a completely different name. I always forget how it's called, truly. I'm going to, because every time I check his real name and then I forget it, which is beautiful. Nicolò. Tony Effe si chiama Nicolò Rapisarda. Che dire, follettini e follettine. So like, probably Tony Effe said, no, Tommy Cash said, look at this guy being all rap and trap, who is called Tony Effe, and which is like very, very, I don't know, stereotypical. Because you know that in US, there is this whole thing about the fact that Italo-Americans are called Tony. And there is like non bestemmiamo, Gasso, per favore. Like there is a whole portion of folklore on why Italo-Americans are called Tony. I read things concerning that name that, my God. So probably I imagine Tommy Cash like checking out Tony Effe and said, oh my God, These guys is a stereotype with legs. I need to do a remix with him. Like I think this is how it went. Because otherwise, like Tommy Cash is a troll, basically. I checked out many of his songs, and he's a lot about talking about topics with irony. For example, he took the stereotypical way of doing rap, so beach money, beach money crime sort of situation, and making a fun of it. Yeah, exactly. So I thought, like, if he has to do a featuring with someone, with an Italian singer, I thought about Fabio Rovazzi. We are going to talk about Fabio Rovazzi next week because usually he releases summer songs during the summer. And Fabio Rovazzi has this way of singing through memes and irony. So, like, in my opinion, together they would be like a combo. Like, please collab Fabio Rovazzi, Tommy Cash in this timeline, s'il vous plaît, because I need it. Esplodo. But I didn't expect it with Tony Effe. Also because Tony Effe is, I don't even know how to describe him. Like, if you go and check the lyrics of his songs, you're like, no, he joking, isn't he? Because there is one of his songs that became quite popular where he says something like, I have 7 washing machines. Something like that. And in fact, last year for the New Year's concert, because I explained several times, for New Year's we have in many cities of Italy, big and small, concerts. So of course, around I don't know, autumn, Italian cities starts to organize to invite singers to have this concert. Yeah. And of course, bigger the city, bigger the star, right? And last year, Tony Effe was invited to Rome's concert because, of course, Rome has one of the biggest New Year's concerts. But due to the very sexist lyrics of his songs, because I swear to God, if you go and take the songs of Tony Effe, the lyrics seem like the ones by Tommy Cash, but sung unironically. Okay. I don't have anything against Tony Effe because there was like the whole thing last year about, oh, they have to censor him. His texts are about his lyrics are about sexism, violence, superficiality. But mainly the problem was concerning sexism, violence. And so a feminist association, I think, complain, like presented a formal complaint to the Rome organization, because of course it is the mayor this inviting the artist, of the mayor office inviting the artist, and they filed a formal complaint to the mayor office against Tony Effe, because their point was our association plus our associations are fighting hard against sexism, violence, discriminations and whatnot. And then what do? You invite Tony Effe. Did you even listen to the lyrics of his songs? So the mayor office apologized, sent away Tony Effe. With Tony Effe, other people from the same label, because Tony Effe is working with the label he mentioned, but he's also under a bigger label. Let me check. Which is also the label of many other Italian singers. In fact, the official label of Tony Effe is the Universal Music Group, which is, of course, one of the main labels also in Italy. For example, in the same label, we find, if I remember correctly, other very famous singers like Elodie or Mahmood. Now, probably it was Elodie and Mahmood who had to sing in the same concert of Tony Effe, and probably they retired because they said it is unfair that an artist get censored no matter the lyrics, and thus they didn't go. And many people said, oh, but actually they don't really care about the whole censorship thing, the whole censorship matter, because they were actually pushed by the label because they had to act in solidarity with their colleague to please the label and whatnot. I don't know, of course, because it's not that I read people's mind. So I don't know if it was really a personal reason, if they were pushed by the label, if both. However, I do agree on the fact that there is no point in complaining about music, because music is a form of art. Because if music is popular, a certain type of music is popular, it is just how can I say, a representation of what happened socially. Now, there is also the whole discussion about, but if you give space to certain types of speech, then you are also admitting that these behavior are okay in the society. So if you start from the censorship, you are going to send a strong message concerning the fact that certain things are not allowed and accepted in the society. I don't agree. Censorship is the most useless thing you can do, because you are going to make a martyr. If there is a social problem which is represented in music, you have to take care of the social problem. It's not by censoring music and thus cleaning your consciousness that you are going to solve the problem. So would have been better to ask Tony Effe to come and sing in the concert, asking him to bring chill songs. For example, Tony Effe made a lot of summer hit, for example, with Gaia, Sesso e Samba, Taxi sulla Luna with Emma. So, like, just call him, have him sing those 2 or 3 songs that became summer hits that are not about sexism, xenophobia, violence, whatever. You have him sing chill things and whatnot. Also because apparently he is on his redemption arc. So if you take Tony Effe, you know that Tony Effe is popular among young people, and you show a reforged Tony Effe who doesn't sing anymore about certain topics, but sings about the summer hits, how much he loved his girlfriend, how much he wants to become a father and whatnot. You give them the reforged Tony Effe. You have his audience happy. You have his audience seeing and listening to these new topics. Win-win situation. Like, there is no point in saying, 5 years ago he said that. Is it really important to keep him in that, to force him in that box of that thing that he said 5 years ago? He's trying to change. Let him. Probably it is also because of this that Tommy Cash decided to do the featuring with him, because I don't think Tommy Cash is a stupid person. So I don't think like he would have done the remix with Tony Effe of 5 years ago. Maybe I'm wrong, but I have this feeling. Is Tony Effe able to reach the same irony and layers of implicit criticism of Tommy Cash? I don't think so. Despite being apparently very stupid, Tommy Cash lyrics are actually quite smart criticisms. Tony Effe maybe is getting there. He has some good lines every now and then. He's not constant. He's not that constant. But I think he's improving. There is no point in trying to stop him now that he wants to improve. Also because we are in 2025. If he wants to keep singing shit, he's going to keep singing shit. Because people are going to listen to him anyway on Spotify and whatnot, even if for one concert you try to censor him. Because at certain point, of course, you can't do much more, because otherwise you should also stop all the other like the game of censorship. It is a very dangerous game, because it is very hard concerning art to know where you set the line that you don't want to trespass. Because, so like, concerning art, I wouldn't censor at all. But we have to all agree that art is art. It is a point of view, a take on what is happening in reality. It is not something you should follow, but it is a representation of social problems or social situations and whatnot. So, yeah. That said, this is pretty much everything I had to say concerning Espresso Macchiato by Tommy Cash remix featuring Tony Effe. I wish you all a pleasant Eurovision week. Che vinca il migliore o la migliore. I don't think I'm going to watch Eurovision because I have a lot of things to do this week, but I'm sure my community will keep me updated. And of course, social media, because I expect a lot of memes. That said, let me know in the comments what you think about this song, the original, even if for the original it is better to go in the dedicated comment section of the other live stream. Let me know what are your hopes and what not concerning this Eurovision. That said, grazie everyone for watching and arrivederci.